So I'm just going to tell you a bit about how I became an artist and why I paint these paintings. One of my first memories of creating art, I was about 4 years old, and I was sitting at the kitchen table, and there was a Shaka Khan record playing, and my mother was there, and I remember looking at the album art and just admiring the art in the album cover. And so my mom showed me how to draw a woman. It was like a basic female figure. So at that point, I realized that I loved creating art. And when I was a little girl, we had this wooden coffee table in our living room, and I would crawl under the coffee table, lying face up, and take crayons and draw on the underside of the coffee table and scribble. And I don't know if my mom ever found out about that, but the drawing became a really natural way for me to express myself. When I was about 13, I met this woman who was a college student, and she was majoring in fashion design. And I would just hang out with her, and I would see the clothing construction she was working on and the fashion sketches. And from then on, I was really interested in fashion. And she also showed me how to do the fashion sketches, and I loved doing that. And from that point, I would just devour fashion magazines. I was just so amazed by the designers and the models. And this was during the 90s, so it was like the supermodel era. So we knew models, more by their first names. There was Cindy, Linda, Kate, etc. And then we had a couple of black supermodels, Naomi and Tyra, I guess. But these models appeared so glamorous, and I was just so intrigued by that. So as time went on, I started to consolidate my love for fashion and art through my paintings. So ever since I started sketching at that kitchen table as a child, I knew that I wanted to be an artist. However, I felt the need to pursue a career path that was more conventional. Honestly, I was afraid of failure. I didn't know how to tell my parents, well, I'm just going to go off somewhere and make paintings. So after high school, I attended the University of Texas in Austin. So I'm a Longhorn, and a little bit of a side note about that school. We have during the time I was there were about 50,000 students, and I would say about 500 of those students were black, and then about 20% of those were athletes. So I can relate to what some of you guys have been experiencing as far as diversity, not seeing a whole lot of people that look like you in class. But anyway, while I was in college at Texas, I was still kind of unsure about my career path, so I majored in psychology, and then I minored in fashion design, and I love the fashion design part. So after college, I was still weighing my options, and I decided to go to law school. I can honestly say that law school was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my entire life. And I would say it's not because it wasn't because it was intellectually hard, but it was just because of the quantity of work and dedication I was putting towards maybe pursuing someone else's dream. But I can say that if you love the law and you're really passionate about becoming an artist, not an artist, if you're passionate about becoming a lawyer, then you'll love it. So a lot of my friends, they loved law school, and they really thrived there. But one good thing about law school is that it did help me with my writing. I was a staff member of the Law Review at my school. The Law Review is a legal publication, and it's something that the school publishes, and they bring on students to edit. So there are medical journals, so there are legal journals, and editing on that helped me improve my own writing skills. And law school also helped me understand contracts, and that's something that's really important in my art career when dealing with galleries and models and people that may commission artwork for me. So even though there were some wonderful aspects of law school, I realized that I just needed to pursue what I was most passionate about and what I loved, and that was to be an artist. But now whenever I run into a bump in the road or have to take on a task that I feel is just so difficult and it's something I haven't done before, I just tell myself, I went to law school, so if I went to law school, I can do this. So I just tell myself that, and it helps me get through a lot of hard times. So now I live in New York City, and I'm an artist full-time. And in the past and up to now, I've painted women of color because It's something that I can relate to because of my own experiences growing up. And since a lot of my work incorporates a narrative, a story, I'm telling stories that I'm more closely connected to. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm heavily influenced by fashion models, fashion photography, and fashion advertising, and how those images skew our perceptions of beauty. For example, I feel that Black women should wear their hair high.